I'm Bob Whitson. I grew up in the Texas Panhandle on a dryland wheat farm, and Texas Tech on an undergraduate master's program, and then PhD here at Texas A&M. In between some of that, I was in the military as an officer in the military, which spent time in South Vietnam, and spent time then in the Extension Service as an area farm management specialist, which we worked with producers on issues that were important to them, decision-making kinds of problems that they would encounter with all kind of ag commodities, beef cattle, crops. And so I worked in that area in the decision-making, helping them with decisions that they needed to make. Decided to, like I say, come back to school, work on a PhD in agricultural economics. I felt like agricultural economics gave me the best opportunity to help producers with the decision-making process. Agricultural economics, in my mind, I started out in more of I was in range science, and it was more of a science-based natural resource program. And I was interested in ranching. I was interested in being able to grow forage and run cattle and those things. But as I looked at the things that made a difference of whether I could succeed or not, they were business-oriented. They were oriented to that process of looking at what the economic factors were. So that was a real interest to me, to combine economics with what I knew from a production ag standpoint, and how I could put those together and move down the road of helping either myself make better decisions or students that I had in class. And so that was always my interest, that was always my focus. And I felt like Ag Econ provided me the best background, best training, the best way that I could do that. And so that was how I ended up in agricultural economics. Oh, the experiences, and I've had several experiences at Texas A&M. One of them that I have really enjoyed, and that is the seeing of students expand their knowledge and understand a complex problem. We would do that in class in different ways, but probably the single most experience that I appreciated in my experience here was the application of a land grant mission in a state that knew agriculture, that I knew agriculture, and it involved teaching, it involved research, and it involved extension service. And I had experience in all three of those. So each one I loved. I certainly enjoyed my experiences in each one of those. And I think people have to be willing to bring new experiences to the table. When you look back on it, you say, gosh, that was a good experience. Gosh, I enjoyed that. I enjoyed taking advantage of the things that were out there at that time. So there's probably no single entity that I would point to and say, what was my most enjoyable experience? It's a continuum, and you put them all together, and the entire time that I had here, from the very beginning in extension service as an area farm management specialist, through graduate school, through being a professor, and what I did in that whole realm of helping people was a very, very enjoyable experience. I wouldn't trade for it. You know, military experience was great for me. I enjoyed it. One of the things that I appreciated about the military was that you had a focus, you had a mission, and your whole purpose in life was to get your training, train as a team, train as a unit, and focus on what the mission was. What is it that you were going to accomplish, that you were assigned? And so the military gave me the opportunity to focus out there on an objective that at all costs, that was the overriding thing. We had to be successful with that. And so the aspects of what did it take to do that? Well, it took training. It took courage in some cases. It took building teamwork. It took all those things that you had to learn in order to be successful. Then when you went from the military back into the civilian world, those are the same components that are successful people do today. They work most of the time. It requires teamwork. It requires more than one subject. You didn't know everything about what you were going to do, but you had people in the military that were specialists in areas, and they brought that skill to the table. And so the same way that knowledge of specializing, bringing those together in a teamwork, but most importantly is focus on a goal, focus on your mission. What is it that you had to accomplish above all else? No matter what happened, that had to be an overriding component of every decision that you made. It wasn't that you got off the trail, that you wandered here or there. If you weren't doing something that contributed to what you were supposed to accomplish, you were wasting time. And so I appreciated that about the military, and I brought that into my life as a civilian. So, I'm honored. I am truly honored when you look at the prestigious group of people that are in that group. And you saw those names. Many of them I knew, I'd worked with, I'd seen, I'd been associated with. To be in that group was a great honor, and I'm so proud of being included in that group of Timm honorees. And I knew Timm, and he was my department head when I came in. And so it was especially meaningful to me as I saw what influence that he had, and I looked at those people in that list. And it was a proud moment when I looked at who's there, and I'm a part of that group, and so I'm very proud of that. Well, to keep an open mind as they look down the road. I think agricultural economics is a great discipline to be in, to go different directions. I think it gives you a lot of skill, a lot of training in areas that are important to a wide range of things. But you have to, in some ways, create your own opportunities by things that you do and things that you're willing to consider. But don't ignore opportunities. Don't overlook if there's an opportunity for you to take your building blocks that you've done and you've been successful at this job and this one, and you can combine all those, and there's another one out there that you could put those 3 or 4 things together and move to that next spot. Do it. Challenge yourself. Stretch out there and go for it. So, I would just say that success is measured in a lot of different ways, and a lot of it's in your own heart. When you feel that you have been successful in what you're doing, what does it matter if other people think you are or you aren't? But truly, you can make the most out of what you can do by applying all those things that we've talked about with dedication and hard work and training. Yeah, a little luck doesn't hurt somewhere thrown in that, to have the right positions opened up at the right time and that sort of thing. But don't be afraid to go for them. Don't sell yourself short that I don't know whether I can do that. Be realistic. You won't get the job probably if it's way beyond what you can do. But certainly don't be afraid to go for something that stretches you out there and forces you to work a little harder at something than maybe where you're at right now. So. Well, that's a good question, and sometimes people get overbalanced. They spend all their time at work. You know, they work day, they work night. What I have found though is that you have to find a good balance for you. There's no formula. There's no one out there that's going to say, boy, if you're working more than 8-10 hours a day, you got to quit. You have to find that balance, and you look for the things that then you can do as quality time that you do as a family, or that you spend time with a family. There's no replacing a spouse that is extremely understanding and supportive of things that you're doing. But don't put everything on one thing. You know, you just can't give up your life as a family, spend quality time with your children, spend time as a family doing things that will help you grow both within your family, within your spiritual arena. All of those things take a proper balance so that, again, you just don't get overburdened in just one area, so that you can't think about anything else. I found there's nothing better than having several things. I like to do a lot of multitask, because if I get bogged down in an area and need to feel like, gosh, I just don't know what direction to take in that, it's very helpful in my mind to have other things that you could say, okay, let's do this for a while. Well, just how much they should realize the amount of confidence. When you looked around that room tonight and you saw all those people, successful people, who were willing to invest their time, their energy, their knowledge in ensuring that when our students walk out the door, that they have the benefit of what went on before them. And so plan that when you get out, when our students get out and they're successful, they're going to wake up and they're going to be in the rooms with the new group of students that are in, and they're going to be imparting the same kinds of things that these folks are. So in other words, it's a continuum. Realize that you are a part of a continuum. What happened before is where you're sitting in terms of the chances and the opportunities that you have to be successful. Now, you owe that then when you go back out and you're successful, you owe it to the next group. And Aggies are famous about helping Aggies when they need it. And I don't mind telling you, the success and what advice that I would give is that there's so many people who believe in Aggies and believe in young people and what they're doing. And when they just look around that room and they see who's investing what in them, you can't replace it with money. You can't replace it with all those things. Tell those people, first of all, be appreciative of that, of course. Tell those folks how much you appreciate them and what they do, and then be willing to give that back. What they'll find is that they grow more in success by giving back in that sense than what they got as a student. So advice, you're a part of a big family, you're a part of Aggie tradition, and you're successful because there was a whole bunch of people in front of you that were successful. And when they walk out the door, there's an automatic assumption that you're an Aggie, you're trained at Texas A&M, and you're going to be successful. So you got the benefit of the doubt over a bunch of people that are also out there that have finished their program. There's going to be the benefit of the doubt given because of the long years of support and experience that comes the Aggie's way. Just be willing to give it back at some point. And I know you will. Aggies have always done that.